According to YouTube analytics, 98% of viewers are not subscribed. That's a huge number. By subscribing the channel that is completely free, the kill confirmation chime sounded before Cadet Smith even raised her rifle, and Commander Zilax's 3 hearts stopped beating in sequence. "Impossible," he whispered, his manipulator appendages frozen over the holographic display. The timestamp glared at him. 0.3 seconds since deployment, 0.3 seconds. The human had barely cleared the dropship's ramp. "Sir." Tactical Officer Kaeldra's voice cracked across the observation deck. "Confirming enemy combatant 7 Alpha is terminated. Precision neural strike to cerebral cortex." Zilax's vision blurred. In his 47 cycles overseeing the Galactic Military Academy's live combat assessments, he'd never seen a kill logged before a cadet even established line of sight. The jungle canopy was too dense. The enemy combatants, volunteers seeking sentence reduction, were scattered across 12 square kilometers of hostile terrain. Standard doctrine required minimum 3 minutes for reconnaissance, 5 for first engagement. This human had been on the ground for less time than it took to breathe. "Weapon discharge?" Zilax demanded, already knowing the answer would shatter his reality. "Negative, sir. No thermal signature, no kinetic report, no energy weapon activation." Kaeldra's claws clicked frantically across her console. All monitoring systems functioning within normal parameters. Running full diagnostic now, but the second chime cut her off. "Kill confirmation. Enemy combatant 3 Beta. Elapsed time, 0.8 seconds from deployment." The automated system's pleasant voice delivered the impossible news like it was commenting on the weather. "Cause of termination, cardiac arrest, consistent with precision trauma to primary cardiovascular organ." "Get me her file." Zilax's voice came out as a hiss. "Now." The observation deck erupted into controlled chaos as senior officers converged on his station. 47 cadets from 19 different species were currently deployed in the jungle below. The Academy's most prestigious combat assessment, broadcast live to military academies across 15 star systems, and 1 human cadet was breaking every law of physics and probability that Zilax had spent his entire career studying. "Cadet Olivia Smith," Kaeldra read, her voice tight with something approaching panic. "Human, female, 19 standard years, first cycle at the Academy, no prior military service. Background, civilian education, something called a high school track team captain, 3 younger siblings." She looked up, her optical membranes flickering with confusion. "Sir, her entrance examination scores were average. Mid-range physical capabilities, standard human baseline." "Pull up her visual feed." The central display flickered to life, showing the jungle floor from Cadet Smith's helmet camera. She was walking. Just walking. Her rifle remained mag-locked to her back. Her hands swung casually at her sides. She was humming something, melody inconsistent with any known military cadence. 3rd chime. 4th chime. 4 kills in 90 seconds, someone whispered behind Zilax. "By the ancestors." 5th kill confirmed, the system announced cheerfully. 6th kill confirmed. "Where is she?" Zilax stabbed at the tactical overlay, pulling up the overhead surveillance feed. There, a heat signature moving through the jungle with the casual efficiency of someone taking a morning stroll. Around her, enemy combatant signatures were winking out like dying stars. No muzzle flashes, no explosive signatures, no energy weapons discharge. Just a human, walking through the jungle, and everything in her path was dying. 7th kill confirmed. 8th kill confirmed. "Sir, the other cadets." Kaeldra gestured to the split-screen displays showing the remaining 46 participants. A Krillian cadet had just made first contact after careful reconnaissance, engaging in a protracted firefight. A Velkari honor student was executing textbook suppression tactics. 3 Zenth warriors were advancing in perfect formation, their combat doctrine playing out exactly as the Academy had taught them. All of them were doing exactly what they should be doing. The human was not. Elapsed time. 2 minutes, 17 seconds. Zilax read aloud, his voice hollow. Current confirmed eliminations for Cadet Smith. 8. The next highest cadet has 0. High Commander Jotaro materialized at his shoulder, the Academy Commandant's presence usually enough to straighten spines across the entire facility. Now, Jotaro just stared at the display, his breathing apparatus clicking rhythmically with what Zilax recognized as profound distress. "Report," Jotaro said simply. "Sir, Zilax gestured helplessly at the screen. "The human deployed 2 minutes ago. She has 8 confirmed kills, no weapons fired, no physical contact, no anomalies detected in any monitoring system." He pulled up the combat analysis readouts. "Every termination is clean, professional, precise. Neural strikes, cardiovascular trauma, respiratory system failure. Each death is different, each one tactically optimal for the target species." "Show me her movement pattern." Kaeldra overlaid the tracking data. Olivia Smith's path through the jungle was nearly a straight line, deviating only slightly to avoid dense vegetation. No tactical positioning, no cover usage, no stealth approach. She was walking through a live combat zone like she was walking to class. 9th kill confirmed. Jotaro's breathing apparatus clicked faster. Visual on the latest termination, now. The display shifted to show a drone's recording. Enemy combatant 9 Gamma, a convicted Taraxian weapons smuggler, collapsed mid-stride. The creature's 3 legs folded simultaneously, its body hitting the jungle floor with finality. Medical readouts scrolled across the screen. Catastrophic neural failure, death instantaneous. The timestamp showed Cadet Smith had been 40 meters away, obscured by vegetation moving in the opposite direction. 10th kill confirmed. 11th kill confirmed. "By the void," someone breathed. Zilax watched his career, his understanding of military tactics, his carefully constructed worldview crumble as the numbers climbed. 12, 13, 14 kills. The human's helmet feed showed her glancing around occasionally, her head tilting like she was listening to music only she could hear. She still hadn't touched her weapon. 15 kills, Kaeldra announced, her voice barely above a whisper. "Sir, at this rate, she'll eliminate the entire enemy force before the other cadets complete their reconnaissance phase." Jotaro leaned closer to the display, his optical sensors focusing with painful intensity on the human's casual stride. "How long has humanity been part of the galactic community?" 3 cycles, sir," Zilax answered automatically. "And in that time, how many humans have attended military academies?" "Cadet Smith is the first human to enroll in combat training, sir. The previous human attendees were in diplomatic, scientific, and engineering programs." The High Commander was silent for a long moment, watching as the kill count reached 17. When he finally spoke, his voice carried the weight of dawning realization. "We may have made a terrible mistake allowing a human into the combat assessment program." On screen, Cadet Olivia Smith paused, pulled a water container from her belt, took a long drink, and continued walking. The kill confirmation chimes sang their deadly chorus as the counter hit 20. 23 kills in 4 minutes, 12 seconds. Kaeldra's voice had gone flat, the tone of someone whose brain had simply stopped processing the impossible as impossible. "Enemy Squad Delta is completely eliminated." Zilax rewound the footage for the 5th time, frame by agonizing frame. Enemy combatant 15 Delta, a Kresh berserker with enhanced musculature and combat augmentations, had been charging through dense undergrowth when it simply stopped, dropped. The medical readout showed catastrophic respiratory failure, every breathing sac simultaneously collapsing. In the frame before death, Cadet Smith had glanced to her left. Just glanced. "There," Zilax froze the image. "Track her eye movement." The analysis software painted a cone of vision across the display. The human's gaze had swept across the exact position where the Kresh had been hidden, 70 meters away, behind triple canopy jungle and a rock formation. "She couldn't have seen it," Kaeldra said. "Optical impossibility, the vegetation density alone." I know. Zilax pulled up another death, another casual glance, another termination timed to the exact microsecond the human's eyes tracked across an enemy position. Pull up all 23 kills, overlay her head movements. The compilation was worse than watching them individually. 23 enemies dying from 23 different causes: neural strikes, cardiac arrests, respiratory failures, vascular ruptures, but every single death occurred within 0.4 seconds of Cadet Smith looking in that direction. She walked. She glanced around. Things died. No weapon discharge, Kaldra repeated, as if saying it enough times would make it make sense. No energy signatures, no kinetic projectiles, no chemical reactions, no anomalous radiation. She hasn't even unsecured her rifle, sir. The magnetic lock hasn't been disengaged once. On the main display, the other 46 cadets were performing exactly as their training dictated. The Krillian had secured 3 kills through suppressive fire and tactical advancement. 2 Velkari cadets were coordinating a pincer movement. The Zenth warriors had established a defensive perimeter and were methodically clearing sectors. Professional, predictable, proper. The human had just exterminated an entire enemy squad while maintaining a walking pace that suggested she was late for an appointment she didn't particularly care about. Medical teams, confirm status of terminated combatants, Jotaro ordered. I want absolute verification. These aren't simulation glitches or sensor malfunctions. The response came back within seconds. High Commander, all terminations confirmed real. Deceased combatants showing consistent physiological trauma matching sensor readouts. No evidence of equipment failure. Deaths are genuine, sir. Genuine, the word hung in the air like a threat. Extraction order, Zilax decided, his manipulator appendages trembling slightly as he keyed the communication channel. Cadet Smith, you are ordered to proceed immediately to Extraction Point Alpha. Acknowledge. Static crackled. Then, sir? The exercise isn't over yet. The human's voice was confused. Genuinely confused. Like Zilax had just asked her to leave in the middle of an exam. Cadet Smith, this is a direct order. Proceed to... Sir, with respect, I count 23 more hostiles in my operational area. Enemy squads Gamma and Epsilon are still active. Wouldn't it be more efficient to complete the objective before extraction? Every officer on the observation deck turned to stare at Zilax. The tactical display showed no enemy squad Epsilon. Their sensors had detected only squad Gamma, 12 combatants positioned in a defensive cluster 4 kilometers from the human's location. Cadet Smith, Jotaro's voice cut through the channel like a blade. This is High Commander Jotaro. Specify the locations of the 23 hostiles you're tracking. Sir, the human's tone shifted to something approaching formality. 12 hostiles clustered at coordinates 774 by 239. That's Squad Gamma, I assume. Then 11 more. Looks like they split off from the main group, probably trying to flank the other cadets. They're at coordinates 812 by 288, moving in a standard encirclement pattern. Pretty obvious, actually. Kaldra's claws flew across her console. Running deep penetration scans at specified coordinates. The wait felt eternal. Sir, Kaldra's voice cracked. Confirming 11 heat signatures at 812 by 288. Enemy combatants. They were using terrain masking and thermal baffling. Our standard scans didn't penetrate deep enough to detect them. She found them, someone whispered. She found combatants our military-grade sensors missed. Jotaro leaned over the console, his breathing apparatus clicking rapidly. Is this a weapon? Some classified human technology we weren't informed about? Sir, recommend we consider this a potential threat scenario, an intelligence officer said from the back of the deck. Unknown human capability, possibly dangerous, potentially. She's a 19-year-old cadet, Zilax interrupted, surprised by his own defense of the human. Her file shows no military background, no intelligence service connections, no 26 kills confirmed, the system announced. 27 kills confirmed. 28 kills confirmed. All eyes snapped to the display. Cadet Smith had altered her course, moving toward the coordinates she'd specified. Squad Gamma's heat signatures were winking out, one after another, in a steady rhythm that matched the human's walking pace. She's not even running, Kaeldra breathed. She's just walking toward them and they're dying. Pull her out, Jotaro commanded. Now. Sir, with respect, Zilax gestured at the tactical readouts. If we extract her during active engagement, we'll never understand what's happening. We need data. We need to observe. We need containment protocols. The High Commander's voice rose. We have a human cadet killing trained combatants by looking at them, and you want to observe. 30 kills confirmed. She's eliminating threats with perfect efficiency, Zilax argued, his analytical mind overriding his instinctive fear. 0 collateral damage, 0 friendly fire risk. Whatever she's doing, it's precise, controlled, and completely beyond our understanding. Jotaro's optical sensors blazed, which makes it dangerous. Sir, Kaeldra's voice was quiet but cut through the argument. The hidden squad, enemy squad Epsilon, they're breaking formation, scattering, they're running away from her position. The tactical display confirmed it, 11 heat signatures, spreading out in panicked vectors, abandoning tactical doctrine, fleeing. They'd been 4 kilometers away. The human had been walking toward Squad Gamma. Somehow the hidden combatants knew she was coming for them. 31 kills confirmed. 8 minutes. 31 enemy combatants eliminated. 0 shots fired. Jotaro straightened, his decision made. Continue observation. Deploy containment protocols, security teams on standby, ready to intervene if the human shows any hostile intent toward Academy personnel. But he paused, optical sensors fixed on the screen where Cadet Smith continued her leisurely walk through carnage. We need to know what we're dealing with. Understood, sir. On the display, Olivia Smith paused, tilted her head like she was listening to something, then changed direction slightly. 3 seconds later, an enemy combatant died of neural failure at the exact position she'd looked toward. Zilax's 3 hearts hammered in discordant rhythm. They hadn't trained a soldier, they'd armed a force of nature. Dr. Vexithul arrived on the observation deck at a dead sprint, his xenobiology credentials flashing across every security checkpoint. Behind him came 3 combat analysis specialists, a behavioral psychology expert, and the Academy's chief tactical algorithm designer. Show me everything, Vexthul demanded, not bothering with protocol. Zilax pulled up the composite analysis, 12 minutes of footage compressed into a nightmare of efficiency. 38 kills now. We need to understand what's happening before. Stop. There. Vexthul froze a frame showing Cadet Smith's face in 3/4 profile. Enhance optical region. Maximum resolution. The image expanded. The human's eyes were slightly narrowed, focused on something beyond the camera's field of view. Now show me what died. Kaeldra overlaid the data. Enemy combatant 37 Gamma, a Thalaxian scout, neural strike, dead in 0.2 seconds. Distance to target. 93 meters, sir, through dense vegetation, and she couldn't see it, not with optical sight. Vexthul's manipulators danced across the console, pulling up spectral analysis. But look, micro-variations in thermal dispersion. The Thalaxian's breathing pattern created air current disruptions. Minimal. Our sensors barely register them. He pointed at a nearly invisible fluctuation in the data. She's reading heat signatures through environmental displacement. That's impossible, the tactical algorithm designer said. Our computers can barely process that data in real time, and she's not using computers. Vexthul pulled up another kill. Here, watch her head tilt 3 degrees. She's listening. The Kresh's cardiovascular system creates subsonic vibrations when stressed. She's hearing a heartbeat through 70 meters of jungle. The observation deck went silent. Next kill. Vexithul was relentless now, pulling up frame after frame. See this? Enemy combatant 23. Look at how it moved, shifted weight to the left. Preparation for aggressive action. She saw that micro-movement and calculated threat response in... what? 1/10 of a second? Faster. She's processing threat assessment faster than our targeting computers. But how is she killing them? Jotaro demanded. We see her identify targets, but the mechanism, she's not killing them. Dr. Sinara, the behavioral psychologist, leaned closer to the screen, her optical membranes flickering with something approaching horror. She's making them kill themselves. Look at this. Sequence. The footage showed enemy combatant 31, a Velgax warrior with enhanced combat reflexes, suddenly stumbling backward, directly into a nest of Caraxian spine wasps. The creature's death throes were immediate and agonizing. Rewind 30 seconds. The replay showed Cadet Smith glancing toward the Velgax position, her eyes tracking something, then moving on. She identified the wasp nest, Sinara said quietly. Calculated the Velgax's probable response to perceived threat, predicted its movement pattern, and positioned her own trajectory to trigger its panic response. She weaponized its instincts. 40 kills confirmed. Zilax pulled up another sequence, this one showing a Krenth soldier simply stopping, standing still, then collapsing. Cardiac arrest, Kaeldra read. No external trauma, no. She made eye contact. Vexthul interrupted. Through the jungle, through obstacles. Somehow that Krenth knew she was looking at it. And its body recognized a threat so superior that its cardiovascular system simply gave up. You're saying she scared it to death? Jotaro's voice held disbelief and dawning terror in equal measure. I'm saying she exists as an apex predator in a way our species fundamentally cannot comprehend. Vexthul pulled up biological data on every eliminated combatant. Look at the diversity. 19 different species, each with unique physiology, each killed through methods optimally designed for their specific vulnerabilities. She's reading their biology, their psychology, their fear responses, and exploiting every weakness simultaneously. While walking, someone whispered. She's not attacking, Sinara said, her voice hollow. She's simply existing as a superior threat, and their bodies are shutting down from the recognition of something that should not exist in their universe. We evolved as prey species, Commander. Most galactic species did. We have instincts that scream, run from the predator. She's triggering responses that predate civilization. On the split-screen displays, the other cadets were still engaged in combat. The Krillian had achieved 4 kills over 30 minutes of careful tactical advancement. The Velkari honor students had coordinated a successful ambush, eliminating 2 enemies. The Zenth warriors had secured their operational area with 3 confirmed kills. Professional, competent, exactly as trained. 45 kills confirmed, the system announced. 46 kills confirmed. 12 minutes, 18 seconds since deployment. That's all of them, Kaeldra breathed, checking the roster. Enemy squads Delta, Gamma, and Epsilon, 47 total combatants. She's eliminated the entire enemy force. The communication channel crackled to life. Command, this is Cadet Smith. Exercise complete. All hostile contacts neutralized. Returning to extraction point. Oh, and... The human's voice carried a tone of casual friendliness that made Zilax's 3 hearts skip in synchronized horror. Anyone need water? It's pretty humid out here. I brought extra. The observation deck stared at the speaker in collective silence. 47 confirmed eliminations in 12 minutes. 0 shots fired. 0 tactical protocols followed. 0 acknowledgement that anything unusual had occurred. Complete tonal disconnect. Sinara whispered. She doesn't understand what she's done. To her, this was routine. Full containment protocol, Jotaro ordered, his voice steady but his breathing apparatus clicking frantically. Medical team, full psychological evaluation the moment she's extracted. Technology scan, I want every piece of equipment she's carrying analyzed. Chemical workup for enhancement drugs. Genetic screening, everything. Sir, we should, Zilax began. Now, Commander. The results came back within the hour. Cadet Olivia Smith, standing in a sterile medical bay, still confused about why her successful exercise completion had triggered an emergency response. No weapons used. The rifle on her back had never been touched. Magnetic lock confirmed undisturbed. No technology beyond standard issue equipment. No modifications, no hidden devices, no enhancement drugs, no genetic modifications, no augmentations of any kind, just a human, being human. By the ancestors, Vexthul breathed, staring at the baseline results. She's completely standard for her species. This is what humans are. Jotaro stood at the observation window, watching the human cadet drink water and chat casually with the medical staff, oblivious to the existential crisis she'd triggered. We invited a predator species into a combat training program, the High Commander said quietly, and we're only now realizing what that means. On the display, the final statistics glowed. Combat assessment results. Cycle 47 duration, 12 minutes, 18 seconds. Cadet Smith Olivia, human, 47 confirmed eliminations. Next highest, Cadet Zurixal, Krillian, 4 confirmed eliminations, 47 enemies dead. 0 shots fired, and the human wanted to know if anyone needed water. The sterile observation room felt smaller with each passing second. Olivia Smith sat in the center, swinging her legs beneath the chair, too short to reach the floor. Drinking from what she'd called a juice box with quiet contentment. She'd already asked twice about the lunch schedule. Zolax sat across from her, Kaldra standing behind him, Jotaro observing through one-way glass. Every word of this conversation was being recorded and transmitted to the Galactic Military Council in real time. Cadet Smith, Zilax began, trying to keep his voice steady. How did you kill 47 combatants without firing a weapon? Olivia laughed. Actually laughed, the sound bright and genuinely amused. Oh, is that what this is about? Sir, with respect, I didn't kill anyone. The silence that followed was deafening. The medical reports confirm they killed themselves mostly. Olivia shrugged, sucking the last of her juice through the straw with a noise that made Kaldra flinch. Panic, poor decisions, environmental hazards. I just moved efficiently, stayed aware of my surroundings. Basic stuff. Basic! Zilax's manipulators trembled. You eliminated an entire enemy force in 12 minutes, without weapons, without technology, without... Well, yeah, but that's because they made it easy. Olivia tilted her head, her expression genuinely confused. Sir, they were broadcasting their positions constantly. Thermal signatures, breathing patterns, movement sounds. That one creche was practically screaming its location with those heavy footfalls. And they panicked so easily. I mean, I get it. Stressful situation, but panic makes you sloppy. You looked at them, Kaldra said quietly, and they died. Well, yeah, if you see a threat, you acknowledge it. That's basic situational awareness. Olivia's tone suggested she was explaining something obvious to a child. They saw me see them. Fight-or-flight response kicked in. They chose poorly, ran into hazards, made tactical mistakes. Some of them just froze up. That's on them, not me. The Krenth soldier that died of cardiac arrest, Zilax pressed. You made eye contact through 70 meters of jungle. It simply stopped living. Oh yeah, that one. Olivia nodded thoughtfully. Poor guy probably had a pre-existing condition or something. The stress of combat assessment, being seen by a predator. She paused, noticing their expressions. Sorry, is that term offensive? I meant competitor. Being seen by a competitor probably triggered a massive fear response and his heart couldn't handle it. You called yourself a predator. Jotaro's voice came through the speaker, making Olivia look up at the glass. I mean, yeah. Humans are persistence hunters. We're pattern recognition specialists, social threat assessment experts. That's just what we are. She gestured casually, as if describing the color of the sky. We don't chase prey until we catch it. We follow it until it collapses from exhaustion. We don't fight enemies. We make them too afraid to fight us. It's more efficient. Efficient, Caldra repeated weakly. Sure, fighting is expensive. Energetically, tactically, everything. Much better to project enough threat that enemies disengage voluntarily. Olivia pulled another juice box from her pocket. My little brother figured that out when he was 6, made himself seem scary enough that the playground bullies left him alone. Basic social dynamics. Zilax felt something fundamental shift in his understanding of the universe. Your 6-year-old brother understands threat projection? Most human kids do. We play games that teach it. Hide and seek, tag, capture the flag, complex strategic thinking, spatial awareness, endurance-based pursuit, psychological warfare. She paused. Oh, and video games. Those are great for pattern recognition and threat assessment. I probably spent 1,000 hours on tactical shooters before I was 12. 1,000 hours, Jataro's voice was hollow, of combat training as a child. Well, it's not training. It's fun. But yeah, I guess technically. Olivia trailed off, seeming to notice their distress for the first time. Sirs, is something wrong? Did I not complete the exercise correctly? Because the objective was to neutralize enemy combatants, and I did that. You completed it, Zilax said carefully, in a way that suggests your species has fundamentally different combat capabilities than we understood. Oh, Olivia thought about that. I mean, humans aren't really that special. We're not the strongest or the fastest. We're just really good at not giving up and really good at recognizing patterns. And we evolved as predators, so we're decent at the whole being scary thing. She smiled, meant to be friendly, Zilax realized, but showing too many teeth. We hunted mammoths into extinction through persistence, chased them for days until they were too exhausted to fight back. Predators that got too aggressive with us, we hunted them until they learned to avoid human territories. We're not the best at anything, but we're pretty good at making other things stop trying. The observation room felt colder. Your entire combat doctrine, Jataro said slowly, is based on psychological warfare and attrition. I wouldn't call it warfare, sir. That sounds dramatic. It's just efficient resource management. Olivia looked genuinely uncertain now. Are we talking about different things? Because I thought the exercise was about tactical problem solving. I solved the problem. The enemy combatants were threats. I assessed them, optimized my route, let them make mistakes, and the problem resolved itself. Caldra pulled up the Academy's combat assessment parameters on her data slate, her claws trembling slightly. Every doctrine, every tactical scenario, every training protocol, designed by species that evolved as prey, designed to teach soldiers how to survive, how to escape, how to fight when cornered, not how to hunt, not how to be the thing that other species run from. Cadet Smith, Jataro's voice carried the weight of revelation. The 47 combatants in that jungle, what did you see when you looked at them? Olivia considered the question seriously. Threats to be managed, sir, their capabilities, their probable responses, their vulnerabilities. Standard assessment matrix. And when they saw you? I assume they saw a competitor in their operational space. She paused. Oh, you mean they saw a predator? Understanding dawned on her face. That's why they panicked so badly. You're all prey species, aren't you? I didn't realize. That must have been terrifying for them. She looked genuinely apologetic. I didn't mean to scare anyone. I was just doing the exercise. The silence stretched for 10 full seconds. Your children, Zilax said finally, play. Games more complex than our military strategies. Well, I don't know about that. You processed threat assessment faster than our tactical computers. You identified targets our sensors couldn't detect. You weaponized instincts we didn't know could be weaponized. His three hearts hammered in discordant rhythm. And you think this is basic? I mean, Olivia shifted uncomfortably. Is it not? Through the glass, Jotaro watched the human cadet, 19 years old, average by her species standards, confused about why her competent performance was causing such distress. They'd built an entire military academy on the assumption that combat was about survival. Humans had evolved in a universe where combat was about dominance. No, Cadet Smith, Jotaro said quietly. It is not basic, not for us. The emergency council convened 6 hours after Cadet Smith's extraction, representatives from 43 member species filling the virtual chamber. The footage had already spread through every military academy in the galactic community. Everyone wanted answers. No one had any. We cannot classify this as combat, High Admiral Kicksthor stated, his sensor array flickering with agitation. Combat implies engagement, exchange of force. This was something else. Systematic elimination, offered a Taraxian general. Threat manifestation, countered a Velkari strategic analyst. Psychological warfare taken to its logical extreme, said another. Jotaro stood at the center of the holographic assembly. 300 pairs of eyes, or optical sensors or sensory organs, focused on him. The human cadet engaged in zero traditional combat actions. No weapons fire, no physical strikes, no energy attacks. She simply existed in the operational space, and everything that could perceive her as a threat either fled or died. Then how do we classify her capability level? The High Admiral's frustration was palpable. Our ranking system is insufficient. She didn't demonstrate superior combat skills. She demonstrated something we have no framework for understanding. I propose, Jotaro said carefully, that we create a new designation entirely, one specific to humanity's unique approach to threat resolution. The chamber erupted in debate that lasted 3 hours. Traditional military ranks, based on combat proficiency, tactical acumen, strategic thinking, all assumed a baseline understanding of how conflict worked. None of them applied to what they'd witnessed. Finally, a decision was made. A new classification, a new category, one that made every military official in the chamber deeply uncomfortable to even discuss. Existential threat, Class Omega, not a rank, not a skill level, a warning. The academy's corridors buzzed with whispered conversations. Personnel who'd been in the observation deck during the exercise couldn't stop talking. The footage had been reviewed, analyzed, dissected frame by cadets and instructors alike. Death Whisper Summon had called her. The name spread like radiation through a hull breach, because enemies died quietly after she merely glanced their direction. Because her presence whispered promises of death that species memory couldn't ignore, because she moved through combat zones with the silence of a hunting predator. When Zillax informed Cadet Smith of her new call sign, official now entered into her permanent record, she'd stared at him in disbelief. Death Whisper? That's a bit dramatic. She laughed, that same bright, genuine sound that now made his 3 hearts skip in synchronized fear. Sir, I was just doing the exercise efficiently. Can we maybe go with something less intense, like Olivia or Smith or literally anything else? The designation is not optional, Cadet. But it makes me sound like I'm trying to be scary. I'm not trying to be anything. I'm just... She gestured helplessly. I'm just me. That, Zillax reflected, was precisely the problem. The transfer requests started within 24 hours. 17 cadets from 8 different species formally requested reassignment away from any training scenarios that might include human participants. The requests were politely worded, professionally justified, and absolutely transparent in their true motivation. They were terrified. We cannot blame them, Jotaro said, reviewing the documents in his office. We designed our combat assessments around prey species psychology. We never considered what would happen when a predator species participated. What do we do? Kaeldra asked. Separate training programs? Initially, yes. Jotaro pulled up new protocols already being drafted by the council. Human cadets will train in specialized scenarios. We'll need to completely redesign our doctrine around their capabilities. They don't engage in combat, they engage in threat manifestation. Every tactical manual we have is now obsolete when humans are involved. Zilak stood by the window, watching Cadet Smith in the courtyard below. She was talking with other cadets, the few brave or foolish enough to approach her, gesturing animatedly, laughing at something, looking perfectly normal. "Sir, about my new assignment. Your Death Whisper's permanent overseer," Jotaro confirmed. "Congratulations, Commander." "Is that a punishment or an honor, sir?" Jotaro's breathing apparatus clicked, the Velkari equivalent of a bitter laugh. "Ask me in a year, if we both survive." Olivia found them in the administrative wing, looking slightly lost. "Sirs? Sorry to interrupt, but I had a question about the cafeteria. Do they have any normal food, like pizza or something? The nutrient paste is fine, I guess, but—" She shrugged apologetically. "I'm kind of missing carbs and cheese." Kaldra stared at her. This cadet had triggered an existential crisis across the entire galactic military structure. Emergency councils were being convened. Doctrine was being rewritten. The definition of combat capability was being fundamentally restructured. And she wanted pizza. "I'll inquire about expanding the human-compatible menu," Kaldra managed. "Thanks." "Oh, and I was wondering," Olivia pulled out her data slate, completely oblivious to the three officers' identical expressions of shell-shocked trauma. "My roommate invited me to this thing this weekend, some kind of cultural exchange event. There's going to be music and food and stuff. Is that okay, or do I need special permission now? I know I'm getting, like, extra attention after today's exercise, but I'm not grounded or anything, right?" "You're not grounded," Jotaro confirmed weakly. "Cool. Also, same time next week for the advanced exercise? Should I bring my own lunch? Today's assessment ran through the meal period, and I got pretty hungry by the end." "Not that I'm complaining, just planning ahead." Zilax watched her bright, earnest expression, watched her fidget with her data slate, watched her be exactly what she was, a 19-year-old cadet trying to navigate academy life, a 19-year-old cadet who'd earned a call sign on her first day that most soldiers never received in entire careers, a 19-year-old cadet whose species had casually redefined what threat meant in military terminology. "We'll inform you of the schedule, Cadet Smith." "Thanks, sir," she smiled, too many teeth, always too many teeth, and headed off down the corridor, already pulling up her messages, probably texting friends about weekend plans. Kaldra watched her go, her internal monologue a loop of horrified realization. They let a predator into the Prey's training ground and wondered why nothing survived. Personnel database, classification. Update name, Smith, Olivia species, human rank, cadet, first cycle. Combat. Classification, existential threat, class Omega. Call sign, Death Whisper. Notes, standard human baseline capabilities. No augmentations, no specialized training. Assessment protocols require complete restructuring when this individual is involved in exercises. Recommend separate training scenarios and specialized oversight. Additional note: Cadet has requested information about pizza availability in cafeteria. Request forwarded to Nutrition Services. The designation glowed on screens across the Academy network. The first of its kind, created specifically because a human had walked through a jungle and everything that could recognize a predator had stopped being alive. And somewhere in the cadet dormitories, Olivia Smith was probably arguing with her roommate about whose turn it was to do laundry, completely unaware that she'd changed military history before lunch. "Sir?" Zilax asked quietly. "What do we do when more humans enroll?" Jotaro's breathing apparatus clicked rapidly. Fear, resignation, and the faintest hint of morbid curiosity. "We adapt, Commander, or we become extinct." The choice, he suspected, had already been made.